GTA San Andreas. We're doing the import-export. We're on list 1, AA Gamer for Life. Okay, I'm going to show you where the vehicles are supposed to be via the guide or whatever, and exactly where I found them or how I found them. You know, some vehicles might have multiple locations for finding them, and almost all vehicles you can find randomly out and about in San Andreas. Okay, on list 1, our first one on our hit list is the Patriot, and that's the government Hummer. And it's supposed to be up at this chemical plant or whatever via the guide, but I've never actually found one up there. And the only place I've ever really found the Patriot was down at the naval base in San Fierro. It was always there, and it's not locked, so you can get in and jack it. Now, the only thing about it is you're going to have 5 stars once you get in there, but if you're in San Fierro by this time, you should have some weapons and be pretty jacked up. So nevertheless, you want to have like an AK or an M4 or whatever. Just drive back here, and you don't want to just drive back to the Patriot and just jump in it. You want to take a few minutes here and shoot as many of these cops as you can. You see, I stay away from the Patriot a little bit, because what will happen if you jump right in, these guys will shoot the hell out of your Patriot and most likely flatten your tires, which is going to make getting away from the FBI guys a little more difficult. Alright, so take a minute here, shoot all these guys, and then go ahead and get in and jack this vehicle. The naval base is not far from the garage and the paint and spray, so you shouldn't have any trouble evading the FBI guys. Now, with all import-export vehicles, you want to take the time, take it up to the paint and spray, even if you don't have a wanted level. Almost all vehicles, you shouldn't have any kind of trouble as far as having a wanted level, but you will ding up the car getting it to San Fierro. So before heading down to the dock, run up to the paint and spray and get your car fixed so you can get maximum payout for your vehicles. The more damage the vehicle is, the less you'll make on a vehicle. So considering how close the paint and spray is to the dock, you know, take a minute and just go up there. I mean, it costs you $100 to have it paint and spray, which is nice, but it gives you max payout. So take the time, come up here, and then it's just a matter of just zinging around the corner here and taking it down to the dock. Okay, now I'm cutting out a lot of the fat. You don't really need to see all this. You basically need to know where the vehicle is, get to the paint and spray, and what it pays out. So that's the most important thing. Okay, now the Sanchez, again, it's random. It's very possible you can find it out in San Fierro. You can jack one, stash it in a garage, but they definitely spawn out here at Whetstone, right there by your safe house. Usually there's one there. If it's not there, you can run off, come back, but there's always another one right here. The bottom of Mount Chiliad, where you do the mountain bike races. It's also the home of the Jeep that you need for list 3. Okay, so whether you're at the safe house or the little trail there at the race area, go ahead and grab that. While we're out here at Whetstone, I'm going to show you the location for the Feltzer. Not sure if I pronounced that right. Now, the guy says it's supposed to be out here, but I don't know if you can run off, save the game, come back, but it's supposed to be here. This car, again, is another common car out in San Fierro. I saw it many times out there, and what I do is just jack it and stash it in the garage. Now, if you know your import-export vehicles, you know, when you see the vehicles, you know, stash them in the garage, because that's what I've done. But you know, for the walkthrough, I'm going to show you where they're supposed to be. I'm not going to say that they're going to be there or you can grab it, but the guy says the car's supposed to be here. Alright, so we're taking the Sanchez. We hit the paint and spray, make sure it was in good shape. Okay, now the bikes are the only vehicles that I'll actually drive up to the top of the container ship. The rest, I use the crane. No sense getting all the way down here and trying to drive a vehicle up there and scratching and dinging it all up. So use the crane. Anyway, so there's the Sanchez. That'll give you a quick 10 grand. Okay, so I showed you where the filter was supposed to be at, but we'll get to that in a second. Right next to the paint and spray, right behind the car place, was it Wang's or whatever. Okay, the stretch limo is always there. This is where it spawns. It's where the guy says it is, and sometimes it may not be there. You may have to run off, but most of the time it will be there. So just a matter of driving it down here without dinging it up and getting paid. Okay, so from here we're going to head back up to the garage and grab the Feltzer. Again, I showed you where it's supposed to be, and again, I just saw it out here in San Fierro. It's just very common and random, but you shouldn't have any trouble finding one of these. So like I mentioned before, if you're out doing the missions, you know, because I know the game so well, you know, when I see these vehicles, I would stash them in the safe house. Okay, now I'm down in Los Santos, and I'm going to show you the location of a few vehicles out here that I have stashed in San Fierro, but this is where the guy says they are, and these particular vehicles are there. So there's the Admiral, and it's right there in Los Santos. Okay, the Sentinel and the Journey are over here in, I think this is called the movie studio or whatever, in Vinewood. Okay, when we get to list 3, I'll also chime into this area again for the Journey, but the Sentinel's over here as well. And the Sentinel, the Admiral, you'll find them out in or San Fierro. Just, you know, if you know the vehicles, you see them. You know, I'll be dating Katie or whatever. I'll see a vehicle and I'll grab it. Okay, over by Union Station, this is the home of the Remington. It's always here. Again, it could be one of those vehicles that could be not there. You might just have to run off and come back or save and reload the game or whatever. But again, I found one of these out in San Fierro, so I stashed it. Okay, now the one vehicle that could be a little difficult to find is the Buffalo. Now it's always here at Catalina's safe house. You know, if you got to that, you've already been through the Catalina missions, and this is where the Buffalo spawns at. It's always here. Now if you're up at was it Palisades or whatever, where Katie's house is, you can see him out there. And but this particular vehicle I had to drive all the way to San Fierro, and again I hit the paint and spray, make sure it was in good shape. But if you can't find the Buffalo, that's where you're gonna find it. Okay, now I showed you where the Remington was, and I told you I had them stashed. So this is one of the safe house out in San Fierro, so I grabbed it, took it down to the ship. But again, if you can't find one, you know, randomly, then you're just going to have to go to Los Santos and drive it over. It's just a seriously long drive to get out here. So if you know the vehicles, and when you're out in San Fierro before the import-export opens up, you know, stash them. Okay, so like I mentioned, I had the Admiral stash, so go ahead, take that down to the ship. Now we're going to go ahead and grab the Sentinel. Okay, now the camper, the guy says this is the home. Again, this is one of these vehicles that may or may not be around, but most of the time it will be. But the camper is very common in San Fierro, especially down at the safe house with the big garage. Okay, okay, it's always supposed to be spawned at the top of Mount Chiliad, but I can't imagine driving that thing all the way down that mountain. But those are the two homes of it. I actually have that camper stashed in the garage. Now this vehicle, this is the home that it's supposed to be at, and it's always supposed to be here. But the downside is it's locked. Okay, now I don't really have any real tricks for this. As I was running around this area, I saw one of these, and I stashed it at a safe house. It was just random. You can't find them in this particular area. I was just out and about running around right by this safe house, and I saw one of these cars, so I jacked it. If you get to the point where you're out in Las Venturas, you will see them a little bit more out there than you do out here, but it's totally random. Um, if you cannot find one of these and you want to take the time, you'll have to take that locked car and push it up to your garage and push it in there. It'll take a bit, but it's the only way to really get a locked car unlocked. Okay, now I showed you the home of the camper, the two places for it. I told you I already had it stashed. You'll find this vehicle randomly down there in San Fierro, so I just threw it in the garage. And that's going to pretty much wrap up list one. So that takes care of list one and our first 10 vehicles. So now we're going to be heading off to do list two. And pretty much the same thing is going to apply for list two. So we will see you on that. Double A Gamer for Life. If you like the videos, you can always support us by checking out the ads.